Hello, hello. Usually I would say good morning, but it is the evening time here, at least in Florida, a little after 8 o'clock. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. It is the year of the fire horse. I actually looked it up. It's really interesting. We all kind of are familiar with the year of the horse, the tiger, the goat, the sheep, whatever, the rabbit. And this past year was the year of the snake. And I don't know about you, but I am very happy that 2025 is over. For those of you that remember, it was about this time last year, end of January, where my white horse Trace had severe colic and just almost died. Like we had 9 days of no poop, right? Like no, like talk about needing to get rid of your shit, right? So that's the way I kicked my year off. Followed up with a lot of things with my family, going on the road to the rescue and this massive road trip, moving my horses from South Florida up to North Central Florida. I'm just outside Ocala at the moment. And it's just been one heck of a whirlwind year. Who could agree with that? And who would like to have it be a little less of a whirlwind year coming into this year? And it's like, well, what's going to be different this time? Like, how many times did you say you quit smoking before you actually quit smoking? And Amy Smart played alongside Ashton Kutcher in the movie The Butterfly Effect. And she was like, there was a scene in the movie where Ashton and her are walking down the street and she's smoking cigarettes and she said, "Yeah, I've quit 100 times, right?" So how many times does it take before you actually quit, before you actually make the change? And how do you know? Like, how do you know that that is the change you're going to make? So if you are joining me live and you have not been with me before, please introduce yourself. I would love to get to know you. And if you are joining me again as a raving fan, I hope, please just throw your name in the comments. I'm actually at my computer, so I can respond. A lot of times I'm out with the horses, so I can only just see like the camera in my face, but hopefully we deliver some great content as well. But I'm going to go ahead and drop my link in while I'm thinking about it, because this January, I am actually, there we go. I am actually relaunching my retreats and my masterminds. And I'm very excited about doing this as a bundle. In the past, I'd have people come and like, I want to come to the retreat, and really all they want to do is, pet the horses and get selfies. And I'm like, that's not what this is, guys. I didn't spend, 20 years of my life with horses, so you can just turn it into your petting zoo. And that's a very nasty way to say there's a lot more to this. It's just that really there's so much to what you can learn from what a horse can teach you. And the reason I want to do it this way is because when you actually come here, or you get on a plane, train, or in an automobile to get here, I want you to have the most impactful experience you possibly can. And I want you to already know who Dante is, and Trace, and Bella, and Maverick, and Little Tuesday, and now Peach. So we have like 4.11 now horses, where I have one of each of the different personality types. And there's a zillion different ways to look at this. If you look at your different personalities, and again, like coming back to, how do you know like this is what you want to do, or what you want to be, that you've made the decision. When you click the button, when you make the commitment, when you write the check, or you walk out the door, right? And knowing, like, there's some things I know about this year that are going to be very different than last year, right? I already know that. And there's something I said recently, and I'm going to bring it to the table. And this is something I wouldn't normally share in public on social media, but here we are. I was just having a conversation with a good friend of mine, and we said, hope is for the weak. And I was like, what? Did I just say that? But you know what? If you're weak, there's nothing wrong with that. It's not a judgment. It's not saying that because you're weak that we're judging, because everything shades of gray. But at least you have hope. And then I say, well, belief is for the strong. Right? Okay, well, let's noodle on that for a little. When you have a belief, and there's a difference between having a belief in something and having hope for something. We say, help us, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're our only hope. And it's like the victim is the one that has to hope for something. But if you have a belief, it steps into, you're stepping into some strength, you're stepping into some power. And this year is the year of the horse, and we're stepping into some horsepower, right? But could there be something even deeper than that, than belief? It's like, I believe in God. But what about if you had a knowing? If you had like a deep knowing about something instead of just a belief or a hope. So he said, knowing is for the wise. And I'm probably pretty sure there's probably another level out there. But hope is for the weak, belief is for the strong, but knowing is for the wise. And what you can't have a knowing about something without having gone through the other steps to get there, you know? And sometimes when you listen to that little lone voice that's inside of you that says, you can't do this anymore, you can tap into that deep knowing. I started doing this work in God about 2013. I woke up, it's almost Super Bowl. We're coming up on the Super Bowl, and it was 13 years ago. And but I woke up to a Facebook message to find out what my ex-husband was up to. And yeah, that seems like a long time, but it took me 11 years to finally extricate myself from that relationship entirely. And we didn't have kids. It was all financial. He was a 401k consultant, and he ended up going to getting in some trouble financially, white collar stuff, but still a crime. And he was just like kind of this serial criminal and did some other stuff that wasn't so awesome. And I was like kind of left in this space, like, now what? You know, it's totally changed the trajectory of my life and his too. But and it was my choice to be there. I didn't have to, and I was trying to leave, but you don't know what the decision is until you actually take the steps to do it. And it took me having a knowing, like, this is not going to end well. I have to leave. So having that deep knowing, I said that's where decisions could come from. So it was kind of funny too, because how many times, like, I don't believe in resolutions. I don't know about you guys, but I don't believe in, that New Year's resolution, making out a list of, lose weight and eat less junk and don't drink as much and be on time, like all these things, right? But I think about it like a little kid. Instead of like saying, this is the way I want to do this, and like I have it sort of like this derogatory from the stick kind of mentality, I want to like order it up. And I get a lot of my really kind of brilliant sidekick ideas from my buddy Jesse Itzler. I love you, bud. He's like inspired me in so many different ways. But as he came up with this big ass calendar, it's like this, everything on your wall at once. And whether you buy his calendar or not, it's irrelevant, but you can see the whole year. And I look at it and I'm like, I am planning this like a trip to Disney World. And when he first came out with the calendar, that's how I looked at it. I was like, ooh, and then I get to have a retreat this month, and then I get to do a mastermind that month. And ooh, look at all these cool stuff I can do. Right. And I started putting all of these things onto my calendar that were important to me. And that's how I look at resolutions. 'Cause remember when you used to do it in grade school? I don't know if you're old enough, or that's just me being from a small town or whatever. But we would write our, what's your New Year's resolutions, right? But it was still from like this, like, you got to do it sort of space. Like, what's bad that you shouldn't be doing, instead of what's good that we can get more of. So when I look at New Year's resolutions, I don't look at them like, I'm going to quit smoking, or, stop eating donuts or whatever. Not that so much as like, what do I want? And how do I want to feel? Right. And so I was like, I want to bring women out here, back out to the horses. They had the summer off last year after Trace's colic and stuff. And everybody's like, all right, we need a break. Too many people coming out here to get selfies. So I was like, all right, how do I want to do that? And so I said, all right, what if I did like all the content and like a 6-week mastermind, like this intensive thing? You can do it standalone or not. But then you come out and work with the horses. Like, dang, what a great 1-2 punch. And like a lot of people do it. Like Chris Voss, he has a program that he encourages you to do before, you go to one of his experiences. Joe Dispenza requires that you do his virtual course before you come out and see him. And I mean, I guess you can slip through the radar. There's like 1,000 people in that room, but you can't slip through it here because I only host like maybe like a half a dozen or a dozen people. Like there's not that many that come to this. This is a very intimate experience. I'm like, all right. So after all of my years of experience with horses and how all the time I've spent with people like Joe and Tony and like names you'd know in the personal development space, I was like, all right, so how can I blend this all together? And how can I go for that, like that one thing? Jesse Itzler calls it a misogi. What's the one thing that is like going to really move the needle for you? And I was like, I really want to bring women out to have these experience with these horses. I got a Dream Horse Angels program, and I've got the Zen Club, and I've got private coaching, and I host a meet and greet once a month. And I'm like, holy crap, so many things. I think Alex Hormozy would niche slap me because, he's like, you're kind of all over the place. He's like, pick a niche, right? What do they say? One niche, one problem, until you hit 1,000,000. One offer, one niche, one offer till you hit 1,000,000, and then go someplace else, right? So that's what I've dialed in. I was like, all right, I've got this mastermind, I've got these experiences out here with the horses, like Dante, who's like my 1,200-pound Tony, Bella, who's like me, never met a stranger, and then wonders if they like me, and then Maverick, who's sort of like that calm, stoic, never, karate man bruises on the inside sort of character, and then Trace, who's my magician, my Carmelo. He's a unicorn of all unicorns, that one. Like he brings emotion to me every time I think about him. And he's what in the horse world we call my heart horse. And he's the one I did my TED talk about. And he's the one that, anytime I wonder about whether or not I should be doing this crazy work with the horses, besides the fact that I've seen thousands of people have incredible results. Some people end up getting divorced. Some people end up changing their entire management teams. Some people learn how to close the deal that they've been working on for months and months. But you learn a little something about yourself. And I have it on all my banners. It says, know yourself, love yourself, and believe in yourself. It will change your life. But the first one is know yourself. My dad even told that to me, a book that was published in 1971. He has written a thing, know yourself, like yourself, be yourself. And I'm like, oh, I like that. Thanks, Dad. Know yourself, like yourself, be yourself. And I kind of adopted it. It's like, know yourself, love yourself, and believe in yourself. It will change who you are and how you show up. And when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. To quote the great Wayne Dyer. And it's true. And that goes for yourself. How are you looking at yourself this year? How are you taking some stock for yourself? We are coming into the year of the fire horse. It only happens once every 60 years that we get a year of the horse that's also the fire element. It's got to go through all the others again, metal and earth and whatnot. And every 12 years, there's a year of the horse. And what more appropriate way for me to kick it off, no pun intended, than to open up for my mastermind, which is 6 weeks, spending with me live, talking about a lot of these topics, small groups. And this is important that this gets out there because I'm telling you, we have so much fun. You learn so many amazing things in the home study course that's a companion with the mastermind, then coming out here and spend time in beautiful Florida, like to spend time with these horses in a small group setting. Like, yeah, I'm going to talk about this more. Talk about what I offer. Because those of you that follow me at all, you see me out here all the time with the horses doing things and stuff. That's just my day to day. Can you imagine spending like a full weekend and then 6 weeks and learning about what these animals can teach you? And it's not just like come out and make a noise like a carrot and sing kumbaya. This is really about diving into some deep and personal things like the relationship labyrinth. I'm going to be doing an expansion that program, that part of the program is so impactful. Like the lab, it's relationships are labyrinthian and they should be. Not everybody should have access to you. And the more you know yourself, love yourself, and believe in yourself, the better boundaries you're going to have. And we go through that, and we dissect boundaries, and we go through the anatomy of trust, and we break that down. Like all of these really heavy topics that don't have to be. They can be like when you were in grade school, making those resolutions for yourself and making it fun. They don't call it horse work. They call it horse play. They call it homework, right? But it's this horse play. And when you get into tap into that playful side of your nature, it's fun. And to learn about yourself while having fun and being out in nature and being around the horses and beautiful sun and the just grounding and sound baths and meditation and the topics that we talk about just intrinsically in the mastermind are just powerful enough. But putting that as like your 1-2 punch for the year, what a way to bring in the year of the horse, right? Come experience them in person. Have some incredible food, spend some time in nature. Ugh. I don't know about you, but I mean, I could sit here and talk about this. But I will say, like a lot of the topics that we cover in the mastermind, like when you come out and play with the horses, it's there's not anything like it in the world. Nothing like it. It's a different kind of horsepower, and it's way more than riding. I only have one retreat where I offer actually riding, or if you come and work with me privately, that's another opportunity. But I hope you join me for what is going to be an incredible 2026. The link should be in the comments if you're interested in joining. I know this is like a big 15-minute long commercial, but I hope you got some power out of it too. And just know how to know yourself, love yourself, and believe in yourself. It will change your life, guys. If you want to know more or have any questions, just reach out to me. This is going to be an incredible way to experience the power of the horse. All right. Have a good night. Thanks for tuning in.